So let's find the limit of e raised to x as x approaches negative infinity. So clearly, alam natin na the limit of this is equal to 0. Why? Since the natural exponential f of x equals to e raised to x has a base e, alam naman natin na itong e na ito is just a real number which is greater than 1. Diba? Ang value nito ay 2.7182 something. Okay? Therefore, by theorem number 1, the limit of e raised to x as x approaches negative infinity is equal to 0. How about this one? The limit of e raised to 1 over x as x approaches 0 negative. So how do we solve this? Okay, it is easier kung isa-substitute natin ang any value doon sa 1 over x. Let's say m. Okay? So we let m be equal to 1 over x. As m approaches negative infinity, x approaches 0 passing through the negative values. Diba kapag itong x na ito ay ginawa nating mga negative yan, pinaliit natin ng pinaliit yan, okay, na negative values, yung x natin ngayon, dumadaan naman siya kay negative values, pa-approach kay 0. Therefore, pwede natin ngayong palitan ito ng the limit of e raised to m as m approaches negative infinity. So, may kamukha na ba to? Yes, ang kamukha na nito ay theorem number 1. And what does theorem number 1 say? Sabi niya that the limit of this now is equal to 0. Now, let's take a look at the limit of e raised to negative x as x approaches positive infinity. So, by laws of exponent, we know that e raised to negative x, etong part na to, di ba parang ganito yan? E raised to negative x is equal to e raised to negative 1 times x. Di ba? Na parang ganyan, 1 over e raised to x. Okay? E raised to negative x is equal to this. So, pwede natin ngayong palitan ng ganyan yon. Okay? So, we now have the limit of 1 over e raised to x as x approaches positive infinity. And we know that 1 over e is a real number. Okay? Etong e na to is 2 point something. And if we divide 1 over 2 point something, oy, mamaya ka magwalis. 1 over 2 point something, this will be less than 1 but greater than 0, right? So we can use now theorem number 2. Therefore, the answer now is, by theorem number 2, the limit of this raised to x as x approaches positive infinity is 0. Now, let's take a look at the limit of e raised to negative 1 over x as x approaches positive infinity. So we know that this is equal to the limit of, gawin nating positive. So, 1 over e raised to 1 over x. Okay? As x approaches positive infinity. So, by direct substitution, that is equal to 1 over e, okay, raised to, what is 1 over infinity? So, that is equal to 0, right? Okay? And we have a constant raised to 0 that is now equal to 1. Now, how about the limit of e raised to negative 1 over x as x approaches 0 from the right? Okay. Let m be equal to 1 over x. And we know that m approaches positive infinity when x approaches 0 from the right. Therefore, we can change this into the limit of e raised to negative m as m approaches positive infinity. But what is this? This is just equal to the limit of 1 over e raised to m as m approaches positive infinity. we know that 1 over e is less than 1 but greater than 0. Therefore, by theorem 2, okay, this is now equal to 0. How about the limit of e raised to negative 1 over x as x approaches 0 from the left? Okay, again, we let m be equal to 1 over x. And we know that m approaches negative infinity whenever x approaches 0 from the left. So we can write that as the limit of e raised to negative m as m approaches negative infinity. Or that is now equal to the limit of 1 over e raised to m as m approaches negative infinity. May kamukha na ba to? Yes, this is actually theorem number 4. Okay? Kasi 1 over e is less than 1 but greater than 0. And by theorem number 4, this is now equal to positive infinity. Okay, gawin naman nating medyo mas complicated. Medyo lang naman. Okay? So we find the limit of 2 times e raised to x over e raised to x minus 5 as x approaches positive infinity. So by direct substitution, this is actually equal to infinity over infinity. Bakit? Kasi diba, 2 times e raised to infinity, infinity yon. E raised to infinity minus 5, infinity din yon. Diba? So infinity over infinity. So this is indeterminate form. So ano ngayon ang gagawin natin? So what if mag-multiply tayo ngayon ng 1 over e raised to x over 1 over e raised to x? Pwede ba yan? Yes. Why? Because we know that e raised to x is not equal to 0 as x approaches positive infinity. So we now have the limit of 2 times e raised to x over e raised to x divided by e raised to x over e raised to x minus 5 over e raised to x as x approaches positive infinity. Okay? So, pwede lang nating tanggalin to. At ito, magiging 1 na yan. So, this becomes the limit of 2 over 1 minus 5 as x approaches positive infinity. So what is this now? We now have, by direct substitution, the limit of 2 is 2 over 1 minus, we have 5 over infinity. Kasi diba, e raised to infinity is infinity. So ano lang ito? This is just equal to 0. Okay? So the final answer now is 2. Gaga ka. Naririnig dito.